let's go over some really simple floral designs. Starting off with the forever popular blooming gel flower, we're going to use our complete base coat and making sure that we cover the nail really nice and evenly. Leave that gel uncured and then take the gel colour of your choice and we're going to gently dot that into the base coat. Make sure to leave a small space in between to allow the movement of that gel to be able to bloom nicely. And once your gel polish is in place, you're just going to wait for that gel to bloom out. I would always recommend using a gel polish rather than a detail paint for this, as our detail paints are far more pigmented and will take a lot longer to bloom. And using the complete base rather than the rubber base, as that's also thinner in viscosity, which means the bloom will happen far more easily. Once it has bloomed to where I like, I can then cure it for 60 seconds. Then, just to add a little bit of detailing, I'm going to take my mirror silver detail paint and just create the tiny little pollen bits in the middle of the flower, curing for 30 seconds before top coating. Blooming flowers are perfect because they are soft and subtle. Next up, we'll do the hibiscus flower. Now this is a really clever one to be able to master because it looks so intricate but it's actually super easy to do. So for each petal, you're going to draw 3 little dots in a triangle quite closely together. These will be the tips of the petals. Then taking your long liner or liner brush, without putting any product on, we're just going to pull that gel in towards the centre. This does not have to be neat, you just want to keep the focus on the outer 2 dots of the petal. Bringing those really light strokes in towards the centre but leaving a gap. You can see that the top 2 petals that I did here, I actually positioned the dots closer together so they looked a bit better joined. Once happy, cure for 60 seconds and then finish off with your centre point dots. I did 3 petals here, but 5 looks really cute, especially when done with additional colours. Then, just as I was about to cure this, I thought, you know what, whilst I've got my dotting tool out, I'm just going to show you another really quick and simple one to do. So, using 5 dots of my white detail paint, I'm just popping those in a little circle. And again, using that same method of a dry, long liner brush, I'm just going to pull that paint in towards the centre point, giving them more of that teardrop petal shape. Then, once I'm happy, I will cure for 60 seconds. This white flower would obviously look really cute as a little daisy, so I would have liked to have put a yellow in the middle. However, because I already had my After Dark detail paint out, that's what went in. Finally, we have our marble look. So I've taken white detail paint and also magenta detail paint here onto my ring palette. Now you don't want to mix these 2 together, however you just want to really lightly blend the 2 colours so that they create that really nice swirly marble pattern. I'm then going to take my clean up brush and gently pick up some of that gel polish from my ring palette and then lightly press that onto the nail plate. You want to keep your pressure light so it doesn't merge the colours too much. We're going to do this same motion the whole way around the nail, keeping that point in towards the centre, as you'll see that this shape of brush is perfect for a petal. What I love about a marble look is every time you place that dot down on the nail, you're going to get a slightly different design, depending on what part of the gel you've picked up from your ring palette. I always think pairing a bold colour along with a white is a really good mix. Once I'm happy with my placement of my flower, I'm then going to cure for 60 seconds. Then, we all know by now, I love my mirror silver detail paint to add those tiny little dots of pollen in that centre point. Once happy, cure for 30 seconds before going in with your top coat. With floral designs always being so popular, I hope these have given you some tips and tricks and a little bit of inspo. Thanks so much for watching.